If your truck payment is $800 a month, you don't own the truck owns you. Let that sit for a second. Because if that line made you a little angry, or a little defensive, or you immediately started doing math in your head like, well, actually my payment is $7 something, not 8, this video is exactly for you. Picture this. You're standing at the gas pump. It's January. It's cold. You've got your hoodie half-zipped and your hands jammed in your pockets while the numbers on the pump spin like a slot machine. $80. 90. 110. Click. You get back in your lifted $60,000 plus truck, your phone buzzes, and there it is. Loan payment, $812.47 processed. You open your banking app. Truck payment. Insurance. Rent or mortgage. Groceries. Maybe a credit card or two. And you realize once again that you are working a full-time job. Plus overtime. Plus side jobs. Mostly so this one vehicle can sit in your driveway looking cool. You love the truck. It feels good to drive. People compliment it. Your dad finally stops saying, "When are you gonna get a real vehicle?" But if you're honest, there's this quiet, annoying thought in the back of your head. If I didn't have this payment, my entire money situation would feel completely different. That thought is what I want to drag out into the light today. My name is Alex, and I spend way too much time thinking about the money traps that look totally normal in America, especially the ones on four wheels. And I don't think there is any trap more expensive, more socially acceptable, and more quietly destructive than what I call the status truck trap. This isn't, trucks are bad. I like trucks. I grew up in a town where if you didn't own a truck, people assumed you were either 14 or lost. This is about a very specific thing. When a truck stops being a tool and starts being a $800 a month identity loan. When your payment is so big that, honestly, the truck owns you. So hey race, what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through the real numbers on a typical $60K, $70K truck. Purchase price, down payment, interest, insurance, gas, maintenance. We're going to compare that to what the same money would look like if you sent it to future you instead of the bank. We're going to talk about the psychology, why smart, hard-working people talk themselves into these deals. And then I'm going to give you a simple framework for telling when a truck is a smart business tool. And when it's just an $800 ego costume. You might end up a little mad at me by the end of this. But if this video keeps even a few people from financing themselves into a corner, I'm good with that. Alright. Let's pop the hood on this thing. Let's start with a pretty normal scenario. You walk onto a lot and fall in love with a truck that, with taxes and fees, is going to be about $65,000 out the door. It's a popular half-ton. Crew cab. 4x4. Decent trim package. Nothing absolutely insane. This is the truck entire parking lots in America are filled with right now. The salesperson asks what you're hoping your monthly payment will be. And you say the line they've heard 1,000 times. Man, I'd love to stay around. I don't know. 600? 700? They smile. Let me see what I can do. Hey race, roughly what they can do looks like in 2025. Sticker with taxes/fees, $65,000. You put down $5,000 because that's what you've scraped together. You finance $60,000. At say, 7% APR over 84 months, that's 7 years. Your payment? Right around $900 a month. If your credit is a little worse or you finance the whole thing, you're easily looking at $950 to $1,000. So let's be generous and say you somehow get that down into the $800 something range through a slightly bigger down payment or a tiny bit better rate. Sounds painful, but maybe doable, right? Except that's not the whole cost of driving this beast. Add insurance on a $60K plus truck, easily $150 to $200 a month, especially if you're under 35. Gas, at 15 to 18 miles per gallon, with today's prices, a typical commute and some weekend driving can easily be $250 to $300 a month. Maintenance/repairs/tires, averaged over the years, call it $75 to $100 a month, and that's if you never do anything dumb. All in, you're probably putting $1,200 to $1,400 a month into this truck. Every single month. Just for fun, imagine you make $5,000 a month after taxes. That means between 24% and 28% of your entire take-home paycheck is going straight into one vehicle. Not housing. Not food. Not health insurance. A truck. And I haven't even touched what happens when, 3 years into that 7-year loan, you get bored and decide you need the new body style and roll your negative equity into the next one. We'll get to that. For now, I just want you to see the real monthly picture. If your payment is $800 to $900 and your all-in cost is $1,200 to $1,400, this machine in your driveway is basically renting your life from you. You go to work for 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And one whole day of every week is just to keep the truck gods satisfied. And that would already be bad enough. But the hidden cost is even worse. Here's the part that makes me want to throw my calculator through a window. What if, instead of sending that $800 to $1,000 a month to a truck payment, you took that same money and sent it to future you? Not forever. Not for 40 years. Just for 10 to 15. Let's pick a middle number, $900 a month. You take that $900 and invest it into something boring, like a low-cost index fund, getting a long-term average of, say, 8 to 10% a year. What happens? Over 10 years. At 8%. You've put in $108,000 of your own money. It grows to around $150,000 to $160,000. At 10%. Same $108,000 in contributions. Grows to around $175,000 to $190,000. Over 15 years. At 8%. You've put in $162,000. Grows to roughly $275,000 to $300,000. At 10%. Same contributions. Grows to around $350,000 to $400,000. That's just one truck cycle. One 7-year loan where you decided to drive something cheaper and invest the difference instead. And here's where it gets absolutely wild. Most people don't do this once. They do it over and over. New $60,000 truck in their 20s. Traded in for another in their early 30s. Another in their 40s. 3 or 4 status trucks over an adult lifetime, and you're not just talking about wasting money on cars. You're talking about millions of dollars of lost future wealth. I'm not exaggerating. Take that 15-year $900 per month example that grew to roughly $350,000 at 10%. Do that twice between age 25 and 55, meaning, for 30 years, you always chose the paid-off or cheap truck and invested the $900 difference, and were in 7-figure territory by the time you're ready to slow down. That doesn't even include compounding from 55 to 65. Meanwhile, the guy with the $800 payment has a truck that's now worth $18,000 and needs a transmission. Tell me which version of you actually looks more like they made it. So if the math is this brutal, why do so many smart, hard-working people sign up for these deals? Let's be honest. Most of the time, it's not about logic. It's about identity. If you grew up in a small town, or in the South, or in the Midwest, or honestly just in most of America, trucks aren't just vehicles. They're real man badges. I work with my hands badges. I'm not broke anymore badges. When you pull up in a brand new $60,000 truck, your buddies notice. Your coworkers notice. Your family notices. It signals something. Even if that something is just, I managed to get approved for a giant loan. And that's the trap. Because status, feeling like you're finally doing okay, is a real human need. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. You've been driving a rusty 2008 beater forever, worried every inspection. You finally land a decent job. You're tired of feeling like the kid or the per one wherever you go. The dealership knows this. The ads know this. The finance office definitely knows this. So they don't sell you horsepower. They don't sell you a payload rating. They sell you a feeling. You work hard. You deserve this. Don't you want to feel proud every time you walk out to the driveway? And the monthly payment is the magic trick that makes it all seem reasonable. You're not thinking about $65,000. You're thinking, okay, $850 a month. I make $5,000. Yeah, that's high, but we can probably swing it. You're tired. It's been a 3-hour negotiation. They've walked back and forth to talk to their manager 6 times. They've slid the paper toward you with $8.97 circled and said, "That's the best I can do." You sign. And just like that, your future shrinks. Not because you're dumb. Because a multi-billion-dollar system is designed to exploit your desire to look like you made it, your lack of experience with big number math, and your exhaustion at the exact moment they want your signature. This is not about beating yourself up. It's about seeing the game clearly so you don't keep playing it blind. Hey, race, where I want to zoom out and draw a line. There is a huge difference between a work truck and a status truck. If you own a construction business, landscaping company, towing service, farm, regularly haul materials, tow equipment, plow snow, actually make more money because of the capability of your truck. Then a truck is a tool. The question becomes, does this truck allow me to earn significantly more than it costs? If a $60,000 truck lets you take on jobs that pay an extra $30,000 to $40,000 a year, or replace the need to rent equipment that would cost you $1,000 plus a month, or save you dozens of hours a month in time, then yeah, we can have a real business conversation about that investment. But be brutally honest. If your truck has never had more than bikes and groceries in the bed, has never towed anything more than a Home Depot rental trailer once a year, spends 90% of its time in commuter traffic or in the employee lot at Target, that you did not buy a work tool. You bought a status symbol with some unused capabilities attached. And that's fine to admit. The problem isn't that you like nice things. The problem is when your wish to feel successful today is literally the reason you can't be successful later. A $30,000 truck that's paid off and gets the job done, plus $800 a month invested for 15 years. That's how quiet millionaires are made. A $65,000 status truck with a $900 payment that keeps you from saving more than $50 a month? That's how 60-year-olds end up saying, "I guess I'll just keep working until I die." Harsh, but you know it's true. Okay, so if you're listening to this with an $800 payment right now, you might be thinking, "Cool, Alex, thanks for ruining my day. What am I supposed to do, sell my truck and ride a scooter?" So let's talk action. No shame, no judgment. Just math and options. First question, can you actually afford this truck by any sane standard? Here is a framework I like that keeps people out of trouble. 1. Your total transportation costs, payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, should ideally be no more than 15% of your take-home pay. At an absolute max, 20% if you're in a season where you're earning a lot and aggressively saving elsewhere. 2. Your car or truck payment by itself should be under 10% of your take-home pay. And honestly, if you want to build wealth fast, under 8% is even better. 3. The total value of the vehicles you own should generally not exceed half your annual gross income unless they're income-producing assets. So, example. You bring home $4,500 a month after taxes. 10% of that is $450. 15% of that is $675. If your all-in truck costs are over $675, and your payment alone is $800, you're not doing fine. You're funding a lifestyle you can't actually afford. On the other hand, if you take home $10,000 a month and your truck payment is $650 and your total costs are $1,400, you're in a very different situation. The same payment doesn't automatically mean the same level of trouble. So be honest with your numbers. If your payment fails those tests, if your truck is gobbling up 20 to 30% of every paycheck, then you've got three main options. Option 1, keep the truck, but aggressively fix everything else. If you're upside down on the loan or selling right now would be a disaster, you might decide, okay, this was a mistake, but I'm going to treat it as a temporary one. You slash other costs. You build an emergency fund so the truck doesn't push you into credit card debt. You swear to yourself, this is the last big payment I ever take out. Not ideal, but it's damage control. Option 2, sell the truck and downshift. This is the emotionally hard, mathematically obvious option. It looks like selling the $60,000 truck, even if you have to bring a little cash to the table. Buying a reliable used truck or car for $15,000 to $25,000, maybe with a small payment, or even in cash. Taking the $300 to $600 difference in monthly cost and sending it straight to savings and investments. People resist this because it feels like going backward. But downgrading your vehicle can be the single fastest upgrade to your entire financial life. Imagine you free up $500 a month. You do that for 5 years. You've invested $30,000. At a decent return, that's $40,000 to $50,000 by itself. Plus, now you're walking into your late 30s or 40s with a paid-off vehicle and a fat down payment on your next house, business, or real work truck. Option 3. Never get in this deep in the first place. If you haven't bought yet, or you're between vehicles, this is your chance to opt out of the status truck trap entirely. Some rules that will keep you safe. If your truck is not literally how you make your living by used, 2 to 4-year-old trucks are your friend. Aim for a vehicle worth no more than 20 to 30% of your annual gross income. If the only way to get the payment affordable is a 72 or 84-month loan, you can't afford it. Period. Don't let a salesperson talk you into shopping by monthly payment. Decide your total budget before you ever set foot on the lot. And the big mental trick? Before you sign anything, ask, would I still want this exact truck if nobody else ever saw it? If the answer is yes, because it does work you need. It fits your family. It solves real problems. Cool. That's a tool. If the answer is, well, I mean, it looks sick and people are gonna notice, that's not automatically bad. But know what you're actually buying. You're not buying a vehicle. You're buying a feeling. On a 7-year payment plan. Let me finish with this. There's this guy I know, well, call him Mike. Mike drives a 12-year-old truck. It's clean, but it's not pretty. No lift, no crazy rims, a couple dings in the bed from actual work. He makes good money. People at his company are shocked he doesn't upgrade. What they don't know is, his truck has been paid off for years. He's been investing the difference between what he could pay and what he actually pays. His net worth is quietly 7 figures. Then there's another guy at the same job. Brand new diesel. Beautiful. Payments over $1,000 a month. Custom wheels. The whole Instagram package. He looks richer in the parking lot. But he's the one picking up extra shifts, stressing over every gas price change, saying things like, I'm never gonna be able to retire. One of those guys owns his truck. The other guy's truck owns him. And if you've watched this far, you can probably tell which one you actually want to be. You don't have to sell everything and bike to work. You don't have to hate trucks. You don't have to live some joyless, ultra-frugal life. You just have to decide. Do I want my money to go into stuff that impresses strangers for 5 seconds? Or into assets and options that take care of me for decades? If your truck payment is $800 a month, be very sure it's not stealing the life you actually want. Because in 10 or 15 years future you won't care what you drove in 2025. But they will care, deeply, whether you spent those years working for a truck. Or whether your money was quietly working for you.